I don't know how, but I somehow formed a zit directly on my weenus of my elbow where there's that extra skin layer, and I formed a zit right here on my weenus. Every time I put my elbow down on an armrest or something, it would sting, hurt, just like touching a zit. And oh my God, like I don't know exactly when over the past 3 days it went away, but it just suddenly went away. And like, wow, I will never take that for granted ever again. I now wash my weenus every night.
That's a nightly ritual now.
Or my weenuses every night. Because I have
weenai, the weenai.
Some consider that the plural form of it, but me,
it's largely
a weenus expert. I know that's not correct. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of What the Fuck? Wow.
Whoa.
So, okay, the Kirk Cousins shit has really gotten to Everett's head. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today is episode number 64. Yes, that's a stack of shit in Minecraft. That's how I associate the number 64. Yeah, you got a lot of us. And apparently we have Everett Cousins. Kirk Everett in.
Lil Kirko. Lil
Kirko in the building.
Lil Ev.
We got a big episode for you guys. Big time breakdown on college football. We're gonna be not live reacting, but reacting to the college football.
I thought you were gonna. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna say we're going live, like we were about to go on TikTok live, and I'm like, I am not prepared for that.
No, that is not on the agenda.
Let us know if you want us to do that. We can do that.
I mean, we could go live.
We could do that.
Maybe you guys want to watch. I don't know. Maybe the UCF Tulane football game with me over the weekend, because
maybe you can live watch our game.
That's what I'm saying. Live.
Yeah, that's what you should do. Low key. Low key. Why don't you do that?
All right. I guess there's a live show this weekend.
All right.
3:30 Eastern time. Get on TikTok, because I will be live breaking down the UCF Tulane game of the week. But okay, we're gonna be reacting to college football playoff selection show rankings that just came out. We're recording this on Tuesday, November 8th. So yeah, a little bit in advance, but we're gonna be reacting to the rankings. I'm gonna quickly go over some exciting games that interest me this week, and then Everett, we're gonna wrap up college football. Going over that Tulane UCF game, and then of course we got our picks where your boy did pretty fucking good last week.
Might be the
we got a better on this show. We got a better picker. That's all right. I'll save all the brags for the NFL segment. But all right, Everett, college football. We got Lil Kirko in the building over there. Everett, shout out to you. You have not seen the rankings. You have stayed off of Twitter for how many hours now? 4 hours. The rankings came out 4 hours.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been going through some withdrawals, man. It's been 4 hours. My ADHD is through the fucking roof right now.
Sounds like it.
I open my phone, and the first thing I do basically every time I open my phone is go on to Twitter. I had a 30-minute walk back from campus to my house where I was alone.
That's a lot of Twitter time.
Minutes. It's a lot of Twitter time, and I had to sit there. I tried opening it once, and then I had to immediately close it as I realized that I should not be opening it. It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, but it's been 4 hours, and now we're here. I've been waiting for this moment today.
Yeah, but thank you, Everett. We're gonna get your live reaction right now. So Everett, like last week, just gonna roll through the picks. I'm gonna say the numbers this time, so it really sinks in where all these teams are. So 1, Georgia, 2, Ohio State, 3, Michigan, 4, TCU, 5, Tennessee, 6, Oregon, 7, LSU, 8, USC, 9, Alabama, 10, Clemson, 11, Ole Miss, 12, UCLA, 13, Utah, 14, Penn State, 15, North Carolina, 16, NC State, 17, Tulane, 18, Texas, 19, Kansas State, 20, Notre Dame, 21, Illinois, 22, UCF, 23, Florida State, 24, Kentucky, 25 Washington. Everett. Let's start before we get to the part where I know you're fired up. Everett, this 1 through 4, maybe we could extend it out to the 1 through 8, 1 through 9, maybe even 1 through 10. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, 1 through 3. No surprise there. No big surprise.
Yeah, no, that wasn't very surprising.
We covered the last episode how it literally makes no sense that Michigan could jump Ohio State. So I'm not even going to go over that again. But Everett, what are your thoughts on 4 TCU, 5 Tennessee, 6 Oregon, 7 LSU? Did the committee get this right? Did they get it wrong?
So here's the deal. 1 through 3, I think, is like you said. I think that they are solidified. They make sense being where they are right now, and I think that anywhere besides where they are wouldn't really add up.
Yeah, they're 4 undefeated teams.
The thing that sucks is if let's just say that this continues to be the way it is. Let's say that Texas doesn't beat TCU this week, so 1 through 4 remains the same until Thanksgiving weekend. I know for a fact when Ohio State and Michigan plays, whichever team loses they're not just going to switch from 2 and 3 and 3 and 2. They're going to drop out of the playoffs most likely, or to the end of the playoffs, which is dumb. But looking at 4, 5, and 6, I understand TCU. I agree with that. 5 and 6 is where we get iffy, and this is where I think recency bias comes into play. I know that actually, no, I can't say that because if recency bias came into play, Oregon should be above Tennessee. And I think that Oregon should be above Tennessee based off of what we've seen Oregon do of late and what we saw happen in Tennessee last week when they played Georgia. You can't be a number 1 team in college football and lay an egg the way that Tennessee did versus Georgia. It's not, you shouldn't be doing that.
Now, Everett, I 100% agree with you in the fact that Georgia dominated that game. And I know the final score, pretty sure final score was 27-13 Georgia, but that game was not as close as the scoreboard suggested. However, Everett, for a lot of these voters, the scoreboard's the only thing that matters. So for a lot of these voters and shit, like they're just sitting there like, well,
so here's the deal.
Well, Tennessee only lost by 2 scores, literally on the road at Georgia. When Oregon
here's the deal.
49-3.
Oregon did
site game.
Oregon did lose 49-3. And obviously Tennessee got 13 points off of that, but really like they should have only had maybe
I agree with you. It really was not
the thing that I'm going to state though, and I'm giving this I favor Oregon between the two, and I'm not saying Tennessee is bad by any means. I still think that they should sneak into the playoffs. But actually I don't know if they'll sneak into the playoffs. LSU is pretty good. But the first game of the season for Oregon, they're having a new head coach, a new quarterback. They've lost players. They're just teams adjusting. It's at a neutral site. It's versus the college football champion from last year.
No, I'm with you.
I think that
needs to be thrown out the window.
I think that you can't compare those 2 games between Tennessee and Georgia and Oregon and Georgia. I don't think that that's a fair comparison. So I think when you're ranking like teams, if you want to rank them that way, look at what Oregon's done of late and look what Tennessee has done of late. It should be recency bias, and Tennessee last week did not look good. Oregon last week, Oregon over the last couple of weeks, Bo Nix has looked like a Heisman front runner over the last couple of weeks.
So like my first thought, like I thought there was a chance that Tennessee could be at 4 and TCU 5 in my personal rankings. I actually have their top 7, except I have Tennessee at 4, TCU at 5. And the reason I thought that's kind of what the committee might do is because Tennessee was the number 1 team last week.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
That to me, having Tennessee be number 1 told me a lot about what the committee thought of Tennessee. Now, a lot of people might be saying like, well, maybe I get the point. Tennessee's 1, but maybe they just like really had TCU over Tennessee because now their win against Alabama doesn't look as good.
I'm also looking at this right now.
I'm not accepting that because
I'm looking at this
team in the country. So the committee still thinks very highly of them.
I'm curious if TCU loses this week. If TCU loses this week and they go 9-1, if TCU
loses, I believe
if they fall out of the playoffs,
I believe they will go to like the 12 seed.
So here's my thing, because I personally think
If
that
they
TCU
lose, they're out.
I
They're not
personally
in the
think that
playoffs, they're
TCU is
out.
going to lose. So I'm curious here if we're going to get Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and then we're also going to get potentially LSU and USC, maybe getting 2 Pac-12 teams in there.
Well, now that but okay, actually, yeah. Before we react to the Tulane
And also what I'm looking at too is between Oregon and USC. I think one of those two teams. I think that those are going to be the two teams that are going to make the Pac-12 championship game. That's my opinion, and I think whichever one of those two teams wins are going to the playoffs this year.
Now this is the thing, Everett. I want to say that USC and Oregon are going to both be, or UCLA, whoever it is. I want to say they're going to be.
Do they play? Do they play before then? I can't remember the schedule. Do they play one more time before then?
Who?
Or not one more time. Do Oregon and USC play before a potential championship matchup?
No. USC they have to end the year. Well, this week they're playing like Colorado, but they end the year with UCLA at the Rose Bowl and then Notre Dame at home. And Notre Dame is a way different team than they were week 1. But Ohio State, well, to the public eye gets no credit, but to the committee's eyes, I think now that Notre Dame just beat Clemson like that, Ohio State gets a little more credit.
No, but look, I'll give it to USC. Yes, those games are tough outside of Colorado, but if they get through, right? If
Oregon has Utah also.
All they really have to
Washington,
do, by the way, all they really have to do, all USC really has to do is beat Colorado. And if they beat UCLA, their ticket is punched. It doesn't matter what UCLA does because they have the same win-loss. USC would have a tiebreaker.
Say that. No. Yeah, like they're going to the Pac-12, but like if they want to make the playoff, they got to beat Notre Dame.
I still think that whatever team wins the Pac-12 is going to go to the playoffs, at least as a 16.
Why do you say that?
Because of how competitive it has been this year in the Pac-12. There have been four.
Well, we think that,
obviously, but it's a little bit different. It's just because there are currently 4 teams that are vying for a spot right now. Utah was a consensus favorite before. They obviously kind of shit the bed.
Out.
They're out. But doesn't mean they're not a bad team. Doesn't mean they're not a good team.
No, sorry. I know, but according to most people in the media,
I mean they're not making they aren't making the playoffs.
Utah means they suck ass.
They're also not making they are not making. Okay, I walk it back. Depending on what teams make the Pac-12 Conference Championship, they will go to the playoffs.
So okay, this is what I think is going to happen, Everett. So unfortunately, LSU will most likely be taking on Georgia in the SEC championship game. I'm going to be honest.
I think they still both make
+3 this weekend. I'm not a betting man, but I would be taking Arkansas +3 this weekend. I'm just going to assume LSU wins out and Georgia wins out. They play an SEC championship game. Georgia's going to win that game. If LSU wins that game, this is the greatest story in college football. If Brian Kelly actually turns the shit around, okay? So I'm just going to assume that the greatest story in college football won't happen this year. And I'm just going to assume Georgia wins, okay? Georgia's the 1 seed. The winner of Ohio State, Michigan, they'll be the 2 seed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So now we got 3 and 4 up for grabs. And this is what I'm thinking, okay?
I think
I'm playing out scenarios in my head. TCU loses to Texas next week. And they don't win the Big 12 championship. They lose in the Big 12 championship game to whoever they play.
Probably K-State. Probably K-State.
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. I'm going to assume that whoever wins the Big 12 will have 2 losses at best. They're out. Okay. Big 12 out. We still got 3-4. So this last spot, Oregon, USC, UCLA. I mean, I just explained how it could be really tough getting a 2-loss champion. But let's say Oregon and USC are both
1-loss teams.
1-loss teams, either or Pac-12 championship. For this scenario, let's do Oregon first, okay? If it's Oregon who beats USC, they're 12-1. It would be Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, and then the 3 and 4 spots would be between a 12-1 Pac-12 champ Oregon, 11-1 Michigan or Ohio State, and then 11-1 Tennessee. It'd be
This is
between those
this is
three.
what I think.
And now I am under the impression that Oregon should be in. The Pac-12 champion should be in that scenario. However, Everett, the committee has shown us in the past few years that that is not what they believe. And I really wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee gets that 4th spot if this all plays out, or the loser of Ohio State and Michigan, depending on how that game
I think no matter
let me go on record saying this. If Ohio State loses to Michigan in Columbus, or actually no, if Ohio State barely beats Michigan in Columbus, Michigan's in the fucking playoff. If Ohio State loses that game at home, they're out.
I think I think no matter what, the loser of Ohio State Michigan is going to be the 4 seed.
I'd like to think that too, Everett.
I'm looking at the layout. I am looking at the layout of this. And yes, it does depend. Obviously, if a team gets skunked, it's going to be a little bit of a different situation, but I'm assuming that's not going to happen. I'm presuming that it's going to be a good game. Looking at the layout of the top 6 teams, so the playoff, right?
Mm.
There are, outside of, let's say, Georgia wins out, then you have Ohio State or Michigan, whichever one wins that game at 2, right? Looking at the rest of these teams, they are all going to be 1-loss teams, unless TCU manages to win out, right? So all of them are going to be 1-loss teams. And if you look at all that and you look at quality of opponents, you look at quality of matchups, etc., I'm putting Michigan there because
this is another thing. When we get to that last step, you'll see it on the final selection show. They'll list the criteria that the committee looks after, and on the committee they say out of conference scheduling. That's like the last thing, but they got like head-to-head matchups, out of conference scheduling, like how you fare against common opponents, and then conference champion. Are you a conference champion or not? But another like hidden resume agenda that they don't actually mention, but it is there, is how good was your loss, which is the stupidest fucking argument in all of college football selections. Everett, Tennessee will get the nod over Oregon because their loss to Georgia was better. Okay? And it's stupid. It's fucking dumb. It makes no sense because the Tennessee that played in week 10 is much better than Oregon that played in week 1.
What if we're going off of that? Let's say USC wins out the rest of the season. They end up going 11-1.
Now
would they make it in over both of them?
If USC is 12-1 end of the year, the committee will probably put them in because USC creates money, and that's a big name. Like that's the big difference here. Everett, that I guess I forgot to really highlight. Like TCU, if TCU was Texas right now, shit, they might be like the 3 seed or the 2 seed. I don't know. Like I don't
probably be 3 at least.
I don't.
I mean, I could see him putting Texas at 1. If Texas was undefeated right now, if Texas was 9-0, Texas would probably be the 1 seed.
Well, not Texas with a Bama. I'm talking TCU schedule just labeled Texas, but you got to keep in mind that their schedule and shit. People.
No, I know, but I'm saying if you were taking TCU's current schedule and labeling TCU as Texas, giving them the same record and everything, I'm going to say the committee is putting them at 1 instead of 4.
Well, I'm not sure about SEC champ is.
It's Texas,
but it's SEC. Like Big 12 gets 0 cut right now. Like no, big brand, 100%. But not over Georgia right now, not over the SC. But yeah, I mean, these are fun little snares to play out. I think we've kind of been going on this top 6 for a while. But okay, Everett, I want to talk a little bit about Tulane being ranked at 17th, UCF being ranked at 22. You have any thoughts on that? I could remind you of the teams ahead of you, and I could also tell you the team that you're ahead of.
I know we're ahead of NC State. I've got it pulled up right now.
No, you're behind NC State, but you're ahead.
That's
of
what
Texas.
I meant. We are ahead
of Kansas State. You're finally ahead.
Finally got that. So, look, here's the deal. We're around where I expected us to be. I know that G5 teams are not really that supported by the committee. So being at 17, being ahead of Texas, being ahead of K-State, I would say that Tulane is in favor. We're in favor of the committee right now. And
I think it's good, especially because they put Kansas State 19. Like, that's amazing for Tulane after Kansas State's loss, and they're still top 20.
Yes, I agree with that.
They love Kansas State, Everett.
Look, I think I'm also not surprised that you see, obviously, like, there's so many ranked teams that lost last week too. I'm not surprised that any team rose. Like, I guess we went up by 2. UCF went up by 3. And I think also the fact of the matter is that they weren't going to really do much. They wanted us to be close together in rankings just because of the nature of this matchup that we have this weekend. And with that said,
I 100% believe the committee looked at the schedule next week and threw some teams
I am curious. I am curious that when UCF does lose to us, will he drop out of the top 25?
I'm not sure.
I'm curious.
I would assume so. Yes, because like at least at this time in the playoff, for like those last 4 slots, they're just throwing in teams just so there's an extra ranked matchup the following week. Like, literally, it's just for TV money. Like, those last 5 spots do not matter at all. What they think, it's literally just, are you playing in somewhat of a big game next week? Then we'll just rank you 24th. It's stupid. But like,
I can see that.
Like, I mean, the fact.
But also, to be fair, normally
right
there are normally there are 2 AAC teams ranked at the end of the year, and normally those 2 teams, even if they are like literally 24 and 25, those are the 2 teams going.
No. End of the year, we're gonna revisit. I expect the AAC championship game to be a ranked matchup.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's the deal with UCF. They're a good team. Okay. I'm not gonna joke around about it. I am not going to say that they're ass. I'm not going to say that.
Are we going into the UCF Tulane preview right now?
Right now.
Okay.
Right here. Right. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be an easy matchup, because that would be lying. This is going to be our toughest matchup of the year. This is going to be the most important matchup of our year. But with that, we are prepared. We are ready. We are going 1-0 every week. And this is the most disrespected we have ever fucking been this season regarding any matchup, regarding any week, regarding any circumstances. People single-handedly not only have said that UCF is going to beat us marginally, not only stated that UCF is favored at home, or not at home, at Tulane in New Orleans. They are favored over us according to ESPN's like game tracker. Yeah. College Game Day disregarded us, saying that our matchup doesn't matter. Tulane's not good enough, doesn't deserve it. I've got people still talking out here that since he's going to go to the Cotton Bowl, since he's going to win the championship, UCF's going to win the championship. Tulane's mid. Tulane's not great. Look at who they've played so far. We're about to show the world why the fuck College Game Day should have come here. We're about to run UCF's ass out of town. They're going to lose.
It really sounds like you prepared that one. That was really dramatic. Shout out to you. That was really well delivered, Everett.
UCF. So here's the UCF. Look, UCF's defense has not been playing that well.
Like you were running like a hype video for the preview. Like,
put me on. No, UCF's defense definitely has not been playing well. They got a couple injuries this past week as well, so we'll see how they managed to play around that. See if they managed to fix the holes that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. And last week when they played Memphis, obviously Memphis started storming back, kind of the same way they did versus us. So it's just interesting to see how their defense kind of adapts to what we saw from them last week. With that also said, their offense, they've been running the ball a lot more. And I don't know if their starting quarterback, Plumlee, I don't know if he's going to be back, because he got knocked out of the game 2 weeks ago, didn't play at all last week, minus like 1 snap. Their second string quarterback managed to play decent enough last week. So we'll see, but they've been running the ball a lot. They've got one receiver that I think is pretty good. It's going to be an interesting matchup, and obviously, I mean, Tulane, we've got the best defense in the American to this point in the year, and our offense, we dropped 375 rushing yards on Tulsa last week, so we're moving.
How many rushing yards?
I believe it was like 345, 350, somewhere in that range.
My God. That sounds like a little bit of a lopsided affair, in my opinion. Everett, I got some fun, quick little numbers for this game. I'm gonna try to go through these pretty quickly.
Okay.
Just some things that I was just looking at your guys' team averages, passing yards, rushing yards given up, or
on defense
per game.
Okay.
Offense and defense, looking at both sides, just kind of comparing, seeing, which sub departments that you guys are dominant in. And so, first I was looking at UCF, and first thing I noticed, I was just very impressed how many total yards just in general they put up. So they averaged 501 yards a game, 261 passing, 240 rushing. For Tulane's defense, though, Tulane only allows 307 yards a game, which is fucking absurdly low. They only allow 180 passing yards a game, which is fucking ridiculous for week 11 of a season right now to still be under 200 passing yards a game. And 127 rushing yards a game. I would guess that's pretty average or whatever.
Keep in mind though, we played against Deuce Vaughn this year already.
No, I know.
We played against some top running backs in the league.
One thing I wanted to say, like, at least in the early games, something we were talking about is you guys played a bunch of like triple option offenses where they like only ran. And so, yes, that would skew the passing yard numbers down and the run yard numbers up. If anything, the takeaway is that the fact that the rushing yards is only 127,
it's impressive.
Despite playing, I would say that's more impressive than the 180 passing yards, because that number could be a little skewed from those.
The thing also games. Is like ECU. We played ECU. UCF has lost ECU, by the way. ECU Memphis, like, they started off their games running the ball, like predominantly running the ball. And a lot of those quarterbacks that we play in the AAC are very mobile quarterbacks. They don't really stand in the pocket and just pure throw. Like, they run.
And does UCF have a runner and a track star?
Yes.
Okay.
Both of them are runners and track stars.
So this is one thing. This actually ties to my point better now that we kind of broke that down. It's kind of more impressing on the rushing game numbers. So UCF, they average 260 passing yards a game. I mean, as an Ohio State guy, I'm not impressed by anything when it comes to passing unless they're wearing scarlet and gray. But the 240 rushing yards a game, okay, that stuck out to me a lot. And I thought, like, oh, just based on those numbers, Tulane's much better against the pass and run. Fuck everything, those first three games really skewed these numbers. I would say, help me through this, shut down that UCF run, game's done.
I think that is a very
like a basic defensive,
and I know that UCF is going to look predominantly at the way we played against K-State to see how we play against the run, because we were I think we were the first team to have Deuce Vaughn be under 100 yards in like years, like over a year. So I think that's going to be a predominant film to look at, and it's going to be see how we adapt to being able to play around that.
I actually like that point a lot. Like, I'm not exactly sure what tape you can find of UC. I mean, there is no team that plays similar to Tulane. There's only one Tulane, so I'm not sure if you could find any opponents that UCF played that are similar to you guys. But just based on that department, Tulane defense versus UCF offense, their running numbers really stick out to me. And when I look at their past couple of games, they have been able to run the ball relatively well. But first, okay, I just want to talk about their two losses this year real quick, Everett. When UCF lost to East Carolina, they were held to 130 rushing yards on 32 carries. So 4.1 yards a carry. And I said held there, 130 rushing yards, still good. But for a team that averages 240, it isn't. So it also in that game, oh shit, I need to talk about this. Tulane, your guys' offense, we really haven't been talking about this guy at all, and I want you to talk about this guy for a little bit. Your guys' running back, Tyjae Spears, he is the superstar of the offense. Like, I'm gonna be honest, just based on what I'm seeing, he is the star of the offense. Tell me if I'm wrong.
He's my
Well,
boy.
it's sincere. It's sincere. The center, I mean, most important player on the field. He touches the fucking ball every play. So it is sincere. But I mean, this Spears, this fucker's the guy.
Tajay is. He is.
And I'm kind of surprised you haven't brought him up once in this podcast. But go on.
I like keeping him on the DL. No, he is our secret. He is our sauce. He's our secret weapon. He is my guy. He's a phenomenal player, and I mean, this might be his last season with us because of how well he's been playing.
Well, based on what I'm looking at, yeah, he's going to the NFL, Everett. So I hope you guys get your last months in together.
No, it is his last season with us, but we'll see.
He gone.
He going to the league.
Afia, he gone. All right.
No, yeah. It's just amazing how dynamic Tajay is as a player. He can break basically any tackle. He can make basically any cut. He can go uphill. He can go downhill. He can run forward with 23 miles per hour.
Tomlinson. I mean, this is a big comp for you to compare him to. But
Tajay's comp is LaDainian Tomlinson. He's an amazing player.
Yeah. So yeah, the running game, that's something that really stuck out to me. But yeah, real quick, Tulane, 240 yards passing, 180 rushing, but also keep in mind those numbers are a little deflated because against your first three opponents, they're milking clock and burning clock, so didn't have as many possessions. So I just gave you guys an excuse as to why it should be 520 yards a game. UCF, their defense, they allow 360 a game, giving up 240 passing, which is a lot. That caught my eye. Yep. And 120 rushing, which again is average. Everyone's
one of their safeties, by the way.
The passing though, Everett. I think there's a big hole here. And when UCF lost to East Carolina, who Tulane easily beat, by the way, when UCF lost to East Carolina's quarterback, Holton Ahlers, I think I pronounced that right.
Ahlers, yep.
He went 30 for 36 with 311 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Everett. Now, I'm not going to make this claim. This is your claim, but this is about to be Pratt's best game of his year. This is about to be his best game of the year.
Michael,
I didn't say it. You said that take, but
Michael's gonna be able to put on a show. I think the something important to note, and obviously I'm not in the film room. I'm not looking at what they're watching. And even if I was, I wouldn't be saying shit right now on this podcast. Just have to say that. But the safety for UCF, I don't know if he's their starting safety or what, but he does get playing time. Tore his ACL last week. So their secondary is also down some depth.
And already weak secondaries, even more depleted.
But all I'm going to say is Pratt, Mike's
coordinator right now.
Mike's got Shea.
He's got Quan right now.
Quan.
Better be eating. They better be getting
ready.
On
top of both of them, he's got Deuce motherfucking Watts. Randy Moss incarnate.
I'm gonna be honest, Everett. Just on paper, this should be your best passing performance of the season. Now, maybe you guys get a big lead early and you don't need to throw, but fuck it. If you guys are up 14, you guys should still throw. Because and you guys kind of need to get. You guys kind of need to start. I mean, I'm not even gonna say what I'm about to say, but
we came out of a bye week last week. If you're gonna make any comment on the Tulsa game, so
you did have a bye week. You guys have a fucking okay.
We had a bye week.
How are you guys only -2?
We had a bye week 2 weeks ago. Last week was our first week on the bye.
My bad. I thought it was bye week last week. Never mind.
Okay. No. Last week was our first week back off bye, but it was Tulsa, a warm-up game, get back into the flow of things. Was a trap game. I will give it that. I do not like bye weeks for that sole reason of trap games coming right out of them. but we came off on our feet, on our two feet, on our two legs. And I'm hoping, and by the feeling that I have, I think that Tulane, that we are going to prove to everybody why we are going to win the AAC this week, and we are going to absolutely dump on UCF.
Yeah, if you guys pick up a win this week, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, pretty sure you guys are guaranteed.
We need to win this
the
week, and
AAC
we need to win this week and beat SMU.
You mean Cincy?
No, SMU. We have this week is UCF, then we play SMU, then we play Cincy.
Oh shit! I forgot. There's only I thought there was only 2 games left on the schedule. Okay, I was a little incorrect with that statement, but yeah, looking good.
It's gonna be a good week.
Looking good for the roll wave.
It's gonna be
now.
A good week.
We talk a lot of college football. I want to quickly just talk about Ohio State real quick. I was gonna preview some other games, but fuck that. We got to talk about the NFL. I mean, that shit runs the world. Okay, real quick. Indiana at Ohio State. Ohio State opening up as
one last thing I want to say.
Favorites.
One last thing I want to say, by the way. College game day, fuck you. We're ranked higher than Texas. So
yeah, fuck game day. You guys have a dying program anyway. Fuck you guys. Big noon kickoff for the win. Okay. Indiana at number 2, Ohio State. Ohio State 40-point favorites. I'm not even I have no idea who the fuck plays for Indiana. I don't give a shit about anything. We're playing a 3-6 Indiana team. I don't even care who's on their team. Last week, Ohio State struggled to stop Northwestern's run game in the first half, and they found a lot of difficulty running the ball. Okay. These problems. Now I can sit here and lie to you and act like everything's all sunshines and dandy and I'm not concerned about it. But no, Everett, I'm fucking deathly fucking afraid that our run game and run defense is about to get fucking exposed on Thanksgiving weekend. Okay. I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't deathly afraid of that happening. So, okay, we couldn't fucking stop a Northwestern run game.
you're saying your run defense. Your run defense.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say if you're talking about run game like offense, you only need to pass. Don't worry about the run game.
Well, against Michigan, we're gonna need to run.
You're gonna need it, but that doesn't mean that's what you should primarily use.
But I mean, based off the weather last week, I mean, shit. Who knows what the weather is going to be like in I mean, we got to run the ball. Who knows how bad the weather is going to be for that game? We got to run the ball, Everett. Okay, we got to run the ball. But Indiana averages 78 rushing yards a game, Everett. I want you to think about that number. If we can't hold this fucking team to under, okay, I was going to say 50, but shit, this team doesn't deserve, they need the benefit of the doubt. 60, okay? If we can't hold these fuckers to under 60 rushing yards, this team is on life support. Life support. And that's really what I gotta say. That's really what I say. Also, Indiana allows 160 rushing yards a game. We better run for 250 on that. Okay, we better run for 250. Okay, I'm not
OC's got to
accepting
get
this
deep into that playbook.
anymore.
Your OC's got to get deep
Ryan,
into that playbook.
Yeah, Ryan, fucking deepen up the bag, brother. Okay, that's all I got. In terms of other games, any other games are kind of cool. Real quick, we can go over TCU, Texas. I think Texas is gonna beat them by double digits.
I agree with that. I think Texas is gonna win.
Double digits.
But I
don't think it's gonna be an easy double digit.
I also think that
score.
TCU knows everybody is expecting them to lose or is saying they're gonna lose this game. And there's one of two ways it goes.
TCU a dangerous team.
It either means TCU is about to obliterate Texas, and we're all going to be sitting here, or they're going to get obliterated. There's no going to OT. There's no it's a close game. No, it's either they're winning by 50 or they're losing by 50. There's no in between.
Now, like I can see this game being like tied at halftime, and then one side just fucking pulls away. I can see that happen. I feel like that's kind of common in Big 12 games sometimes, but now a lot of this is a big part of me just kind of hating.
I think Quinnen Ewers rises to the occasion. Bijan Robinson, this could be his draft stock game. Like he already, I mean, obviously people are already very high
he
on
will
him.
be the first running back taken, but shit,
But
he might boost his way up to like top 20 or some shit
but
after
but
this. I don't know.
he might make his way
Bijan's him.
if this is the game where he can make his name and be
Yeah.
considered one of the only running backs to get drafted in the first round lately, because we all know running backs are a replaceable position in the
Who are
NFL.
some of the top running backs this year? You're a draft expert. Which running
Um,
backs are
well, it
like
it
Deuce,
really depends on
uh,
who goes in the draft. But I think Deuce Vaughn and Blake Corum if he goes,
Sean, Blake,
Bijan, Travion if Travion decides to
not
go,
draft eligible.
Bigsby. Can Bigsby go?
I mean, probably, but I mean, I'm under the impression that Tank Bigsby just has a really cool name, and he's not the greatest football player.
I'm just going. I'm just
I
really going off of the running backs that. I mean, I forgot I forgot the biggest name of the draft. Tajay Spears
Tajay Spears
will be
but,
a day 2 pick, but I mean,
BB Dye, Travis Dye will be
yeah,
there.
Travis Dye.
Yeah,
For
but,
sure, Travis Dye.
I definitely think Bijan's the clear. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs. I do think Bijan's the clear runaway number one running back prospect right now. But yeah,
I mean,
really
Tajay's coming for him.
I think Texas is gonna get this dub. But okay, Everett, we've been spending a healthy portion on college football.
All right, so let's get in the NFL. This past week, obviously, if you're new to the podcast, Grant and I every week give our picks on who we think is going to win each game, and we track our records, our individual records.
Track the records.
Last week, basically all the games I lost were close games, not Packers Lions.
I lost that game too.
But I went 8-5. Grant, your record, please.
Last week, in week 9, I went 11-2. That's an 85% successful pick rate.
I will be picking first this week.
Hey, I mean, my overall record, I'm now 81-55 on the season.
You have a
59.6%.
You have an 8-game lead on me. I am 73-63. 8-game lead on me.
So
all right. Well, I'm giving the picks first. I'll read through the games. Falcons, Panthers, Vikings, Bills, Seahawks, Bucks, Lions, Bears, Broncos, Titans, Jaguars, Chiefs, Browns, Dolphins, Texans, Giants, Saints, Steelers, Colts, Raiders, Cowboys, Packers, Cardinals, Rams, and Chargers, 49ers.
And Commanders, Eagles Monday night.
Yes, and Commanders
at Eagles Monday night. I actually
Carson Wentz revenge.
I have a strong opinion on that game as well.
All right, so I'll give my list.
Whoa! We're not doing. Oh yeah, picks first and then analyze. Yeah, go.
All right, Panthers, Vikings, Bucks, Bears, Titans, Jaguars, Dolphins, Giants, Saints, Raiders, Cowboys, Rams, 49ers, and the Washington Commanders.
Now, bold ass picks. Let me go through my picks. Okay. I got Falcons, Bucks, Vikings, Bears, Titans, Chiefs, Dolphins, Giants, Steelers, Raiders, Cowboys, Rams, Chargers, Eagles.
I know you don't want to take that Chargers pick. You and I both know you don't want to make that Chargers pick.
Now we'll save what I have to say about the Chargers, and I'll be honest, my Chargers segment will more so be the lens of the next 2 weeks rather than just this 49er game. But okay, Everett, real quick, Thursday night football, Falcons Panthers, that game fucking sucks. We're not talking about that. Everett, the first ever Munich game will be played this Sunday between the Seahawks and Bucks. This now. Get rid of the Munich part. This was still a what the fuck game for me. But now that this game is also in Munich, this is my I don't know what the fuck will happen game of the week. In this game, the Bucks are actually 2.5 point favorites. Everett, I picked the Bucks. You picked the Bucks. Why did we pick the Bucks, Everett?
Look, I think obviously the Seahawks are playing really well. Geno Smith's playing really well. He's a comeback player of the year candidate. But Tom Brady's mad. You know what happens when Tom Brady's mad? Tom Brady wins. And the Bucks are going to Germany, and you just so happen to know
might be the first time Brady's played the Seahawks since that Super Bowl. They would never.
I think it might be, but also you just so happen to know. I know for a fact if it's a game out of the country, Tom Brady going out of the country, going to that stadium, it's going to be a Bucks game.
Have we ever seen a foreign Brady before? Has Brady ever played overseas? Has he ever tossed the pigskin across the pond?
Probably has like once, but I don't remember it.
I would doubt that they'd ever make Brady go overseas.
So,
but I don't know. Maybe the Bucks. I kind of feel like the Bucks.
I can see the Bucks. The Bucks need to lock in, and I think that Tom Brady, everything's finalized now with his divorce. He has only one thing to live for, and that is winning a Super Bowl. It is the ball. So I think on his mind. He might shit on the Seahawks this week. And that doesn't mean the Seahawks are bad. It just means Tom Brady's pissed the fuck off.
So Everett, I love all your points. Wasn't thinking about any of them when I made my pick, but it just reaffirms my confidence in the Bucks. Everett, I am purely picking the Bucks to beat the Seahawks because I refuse to believe that the Seahawks will be 7-3 and the Bucks will be 4-6.
I also refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that.
It makes way more sense that after this game, the Seahawks would be 6-4 and the Bucks are 5-5 than the Bucks being 4-6 and the Seahawks 7-3. That the first option made way more sense. So Bucks. Okay, Everett. This is the actual game of the week. Last week was my I don't know what the fuck's going on game of the week. This is the actual game of the week, Everett. Vikings at Bills in Buffalo. Everett, before we even talk about the game, because you are an expert on injuries, break down Josh Allen's
Ellen
UCL
DeGeneres.
Injury.
Look, all right. So,
I mean, if he goes out there, he'll play like Ellen.
So here's the deal. Josh Allen's got a UCL ailment. Not entirely sure on the extent to what the UCL is, but it is definitely bad enough to where people are concerned of how it will impact him for the rest of his career. Wow,
didn't I hear that part?
UCL injuries, it's precautionary in the way that they're talking about it. The big deal is UCL in a quarterback is much different than a UCL injury in a baseball player. In a baseball player, like a pitcher, it's going to require Tommy Johns. In an NFL quarterback, it's probably about a 4-week hiatus from playing before you can return. Josh Allen already has had a UCL injury during his NFL career, so it's not the first time he's had this. The bigger problem is
do we know if it's like torn or if it's
we don't know the extent of it yet. But okay. If it's a torn issue, then it's Tommy Johnny. He's going to be out for that. But by the way that he injured it, by the way that quarterbacks throw, by the way that just the NFL is, like, it's probably not that. And so we'll see what happens. But the bigger thing is, it kind of sucks for the Vikings either way, because if the Vikings beat the Bills with Josh Allen, and Josh Allen is hurt, they're going to be like, all right, well, they're going to be like, well, the Vikings beat the Bills while Josh Allen was hurt. Like, they're still not good. They can't beat normally.
Josh Allen, he didn't injure this during the Jets. He had this
he injured it in the game. So yeah, no, I mean, it just sucks for the Vikings because no matter what this weekend, it's you can't win. Even if the Vikings do win, you can't win with the media because people are going to be like, all right, well, the Vikings beat injured Josh Allen, or they're going to be like, okay, well, they lost to Josh Allen while he was hurt, or they're going to be like, well, you beat a backup quarterback or you lost to a backup quarterback. There's no winning.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yes,
and you know what?
No positive.
Bring the dumping on. It's nothing we aren't used to as Viking fans, as I'm sure the organization and the players.
So. Now, Everett, real quick, we're gonna react to another podcast here real quick. Big Cat and PFT on Pardon My Take, they said that if the Vikings win the Super Bowl, they will both get tattoos of Kirk Cousins' face somewhere on their bodies.
All right, so you know what?
They went out and said, though, that if the Vikings don't win the Super Bowl, then Vikings fans should get a tattoo of PFT and Big Cat's face as like a part of an agreement. So Everett, what is your response to Big Cat and PFT and their proposal for you to get a tattoo of their face if the Vikings don't win the Super Bowl? What is your response to that?
The amount of pain and suffering I've gone through as a Vikings fan, and just knowing that even if we make it to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be sitting here and I'm going to be shitting bricks because I'm so used to pain and suffering.
True.
I don't know if I personally can honor that side of the agreement. So I personally cannot make that bet. I do know though, there are definitely some Vikings fans out there that will be more than happily obliged to take it on for all of us combined. They will get thousands of PFT
now,
tattoos on their body.
I know your brother would do this tattoo bet because he's way more of a Vikings fan than you. But sure. Hey, maybe we can get you there one day.
So here's the big thing though, PFT and Big Cat. If you have to get a tattoo of Kirk Cousins' face, it better be the one with him in the Buzz Lightyear costume.
Oh wow. Okay. All right.
That's the route we're going.
Okay. But yeah, I just want to let you know.
I feel like the odds are not like
they also kind of admitted, and in my opinion, they kind of represent a little bit of public opinion. I feel like a lot of times they'll just kind of give out sometimes what the general people are kind of thinking overall about things. I feel like I agree with a lot of their things, and they were saying like, oh shit, the Vikings might actually be real. And PFT is pretty much saying, I refuse to backtrack on my take that the Vikings are ass. And he said this in like week 5, they're a fraudulent team. And he's like, I refuse to backtrack on this. And it's purely because I know I'm fucking wrong. Like the Vikings are a good team. So I just want to say, like, my opinion on the Vikings is a little swayed because I speak with you so much. I feel like I'm a little biased towards the Vikings. But to hear PFT admit like, okay, they're actually pretty fucking good.
People
maybe the public's coming a little bit.
People stay sleeping on the Vikings, but here's also the problem, and it is a completely new generation. It is a new team, so I expect this to never happen again, and I expect us as Vikings to. Social media has no impact. I mean, Lil Kirko is about to nuke the shit out of the next couple of teams we play, especially on prime time. I'm expecting a revitalized Kirk Cousins on prime time, so bring it on. But in years past, whenever the media has started to raise up the Vikings and believe in them and support them, the Vikings have progressively played worse. And I honestly think that now with Kevin O'Connell and everything, it's only going to make them better. So bring it on.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting point. You are kind of right where when the Vikings get talked up, it does seem like it's like, okay, now it's going to go downhill. So it's actually great that you're in a lose-lose situation. It's great that you can't get hype after this game no matter what. I guess people will label you, will definitely come after your throats and label you frauds if the Bills beat you with Case Keenum. Like I'm going to warn you now, like that will happen.
All I'm going to say is even if they beat us with Case Keenum, it's a not only a revenge game, but it is a memories game for the Vikings for playing against the Minneapolis Miracle duo. And if there's going to be any backup quarterback and any wide receiver backup quarterback duo that will beat us, it's going to be that one, just because of the amount that they matter to the Vikings organization.
That's how it works. But yeah, moving on. You got anything else on that
no.
Vikings Bills games or
no? Okay. We've been rambling for a minute too. So
okay. One thing, one pick that really stood out to me, Everett, Jaguars at Chiefs. Now you said fuck it and stuck the Jags money line. Everett, I still went Chiefs. It's pretty hard for me to ever pick against them. However, Everett, I think this Jags plus 9.5 spread is one of the best bets of the weekend. Chiefs play the Chargers next week in Los Angeles. Okay. Right now, the Chiefs have a 1-game lead over the Chargers. Essentially, Chiefs beat the Chargers, not this week, but next week. Division's wrapped. So this is a bit of a look ahead spot for the Chiefs, especially playing the 3-6 Jags, and you guys are at home. This is a look ahead spot for the Chiefs. This is a total look ahead spot. Jags spread. I can't change my picks now, but I fucking love Jags money line. I love that.
Look, I agree, and I think that this is one of those games where you immediately think like, oh, Chiefs, like they're for sure gonna get it. It's a trap game.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Jaguars
Jaguars
should be double digit.
The Jaguars at some point, the Jaguars are gonna make the turn. They've been looking like it all season. They've been looking like they were ready to make the turn all season. And at some point it's gonna happen. Trevor Lawrence is gonna get that turn. And we're gonna realize why he was the number one pick and why the Jacksonville Jaguars took him number one. And when they make that turn, everybody is going to be surprised. And this is that game. The Jaguars have had games where they've come close to being very good teams. They've been in it versus very good teams. They've had games where they've gotten dumped on by very good teams. And last week they were down.
They also had a game where they shit on my Chargers. They also had one of
those. Last week they were down extraordinarily.
My team get blown out by the Jags.
The Jags were down like 20 points to the Raiders and came storming back and won 27-20. So if there's any momentum to ride on, it's that, and they're coming in to Arrowhead Stadium and they're going to give it to the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Travis Etienne is a huge key. Is a huge key to this game.
I mean, he's arrived. He's shown up. What else can I say? I love that Jags pick. Everett, real quick. Browns, Dolphins. Now we both picked the Dolphins. You picked Dolphins.
We both picked the Dolphins. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be honest. There's only 2 more games I want to get to. My computer's also about to die. And we've been rambling for a minute.
Okay.
I think that's an easy game. Dolphins are gonna win that.
I can't bring myself to do this pick, but this is Jacoby Brissett's last start. Next week will be Deshaun Watson's first start in Cleveland. The Browns are going to fucking upset the Dolphins. And I have zero reason for it other than the fact that it's just going to happen. Okay. Browns over Dolphins. Fuck it. Browns over Dolphins. Okay. Everett, quick little fun fact. Cardinals at Rams. Sean McVay has some pretty impressive numbers against the Cardinals. Everett.
Yes.
Sean McVay. He is 10-1 against the Cardinals, and he is 9-1-1 against the spread. Against Cliff Kingsbury, in his time in Arizona, Sean McVay is 6-1 and 5-1-1 against the spread. Against Cliff.
The Rams spread is an absolute lock this week.
Lock it
up.
Lock it up. That's the bet of the week. That's the lock of the week. Rams. Okay. Everett, right. Last game.
Two games. Do you want to talk about the Chargers at all?
Yeah, that was my last game.
There's one game I want to talk about after that, so let's go through Chargers real quick.
Okay, Chargers, Niners. Chargers will play the Niners and then the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks on Sunday Night Football. The NFL just flexed our game against the Chiefs next week to Sunday Night Football, so you'll get back-to-back primetime games with Herbie. I have zero reason to explain this once again, but the Chargers, they just get up for big games. And I guess you could say they play down to their competition, but I'll be honest, it's a little more so their average teams, and they like play up to their competition. I'd say that's more so what the Chargers actually are. Regardless, I'm more confident in the Chargers picking up a win against the Niners or Chiefs than I am with them against like the Jaguars or the Browns. I don't know why, but I'm more confident in this team against good teams than shitty teams. They just play better football against better teams. They just show up. And I'll be honest though, like I really don't like the Niners are a fucking wagon. They're coming off a bye. It's about to be CMC and Debo's debut. McCaffrey might run for 400 yards on the Chargers. Fucking awful run defense. But I'd prefer the Chargers beating the Chiefs next week than the Niners this week because CMC Debo debut. We have to
Look, I'm not going to lie.
that.
If the Niners lose this game, it's going to be because of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
It's going to be because
it
Jimmy
won't
Garoppolo
be because of the
blows it.
Chargers. The Chargers won't win this game. Somebody on the Niners will lose this game. That's
And
how
it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting game. We can see how it's going to be played. But
yeah,
I mean,
last thing I just
think
want to say though, like the Chargers over these next 2 weeks, I mark my words, I guarantee it, they will split and go 1-1 at least. They will not go 0-2.
The last game I want to go over. You had an like easy pick for this one. I took the upset. Commanders at Eagles. I'm going to give my reasoning here.
In my opinion, Commanders spread is a lock. The Eagles play down to their competition as well.
Outside of the Vikings, that the Eagles shit on week 2 in the Vikings' first away game with a new coach, with a new team, in a new season, literally the first away game. The Eagles have played nobody of substantial value. They've played backup quarterbacks. They've played injured players. Like, I mean, they've even then they played primetime Kirk Cousins. It wasn't Lil Kirko. It was still primetime Kirk Cousins. So there's a difference.
Lil Kirko.
The Commanders with Heineke are a completely different breed.
And Heineke is starting.
Good. And Heineke, for whatever reason, he is the god. He is the god butcher. He kills teams. Don't forget his first start for the Commanders, playoff game versus Tom Brady.
That was his first start?
His second game.
I remember that game.
But that was like his second game, and he came in and beat Tom Brady in the playoffs. He sent Tom Brady home. Legends are made that way, and I think that if any team is going to come into it and beat the only undefeated team in the NFL, the Eagles aren't going 16-0. I'm saying that right now. And I think if any quarterback is going to come in and do it and shove it
17-0 Everett. Extra game.
Hell no.
Fuck no.
Hell no. Fuck no. Fuck no. If any team is going to come in there and show it to the Eagles and shove it down their throats, it's going to be Taylor Heineke.
Division opponents. What's my rule about divisional games, Everett? What's my rule?
Everything is out the window.
Throw fucking everything out the window, okay? Throw it all out the window. That's my rule.
I think some people are going to be very surprised by the way that, from what I saw last week, that the Commanders' interior defensive line can do. Oh my God.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I guess the key to stopping the Eagles really shutting down that run game, and commies might be built to do that. So I like
it's going to be an interesting.
I like your picks a lot this week.
It's going to be an interesting.
I like your picks a lot. Regardless, I love the spreads on all the underdogs you picked. I think all of those spreads are great bets. And yeah, Niners -7 is such a fucking lock. But yeah, Everett, you want to wrap us up?
With that, thank you guys so much for listening, watching. Rate us 5 stars. Make sure to check out our YouTube, our Twitter, and our TikTok at WaterboyPod. We are blowing up right now. Grant's got some takes live. I've got some takes live. Maybe you can catch Grant on Saturday live streaming his reactions to the Tulane game.
Live reactions to the Tulane game.
Make sure to listen to us on Delta, on airlines, whenever you travel. Put us over the PA system. Go into your local gym and ask them to play our podcast over their speaker system.
Okay. That's a new one. Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Waterboys out.